Good morning, hoops and hockey fans. Big Al here on this Monday, December 5th, 2022. And it's that time of week where I run down the current standings in the NBA and in the NHL. And this week we're looking at the records through December 4th. So let's not waste any time and jump right into the current NBA standings through Sunday, December 4th. Starting off in the Eastern Conference, where the Boston Celtics have a pretty sizable lead in the Atlantic Division, sitting with a 19-5 record and an 8-2 mark in their last 10 games. Then you have a three-way tie for second place with the Philadelphia 76ers, the Toronto Raptors, and the Brooklyn Nets. Both Philadelphia and Toronto sit 12 and 11, while Brooklyn is 13 and 12. All three teams sit 6.5 games behind the Celtics. Philadelphia going 6 and 4 in their last 10. Toronto 5 and 5, and Brooklyn 7 and 3. And in last place in the Atlantic, the New York Knicks 11 and 13, 8 games out, 4 and 6 record in their previous 10 games. The Milwaukee Bucks continue to lead the Central Division with a 16 and 6 record. They're 6 and 4 in their last 10 games. Followed by the Cleveland Cavaliers in second place at 15 and 9, 2 games out, and 7 and 3 in their last 10. Third place is the Indiana Pacers at 12 and 11, 4.5 games back, 5 and 5 in their last 10. Fourth place, the Chicago Bulls, 9 and 14, 7.5 games out, and 3 and 7 in their last 10. Both the Pacers and Bulls have 3-game losing streaks. And in last place, the Detroit Pistons, 6 and 19, already 11.5 games out of first place, and 3 and 7 in their last 10 games. Over in the Southeast Division, the Atlanta Hawks lead the way with a 13 and 10 record. They are 5 and 5 in their last 10, including back-to-back wins. And then the rest of the division is sub 500. The second place Miami Heat is 11 and 12, 2 games out, 5 and 5 in their last 10. Third place is the Washington Wizards, 11 and 13, 2.5 games out, 3 and 7 in their last 10, including 3 straight losses. Fourth place is the Charlotte Hornets at 7 and 16, 4 and 6 in their last 10, and they sit 6 games behind Atlanta. And in last place, the Orlando Magic, 5 and 19, 8.5 games out, 1 and 9 in their last 10 games, including 8 straight in the loss column. Ouch. All right, looking at the playoff standings in the East, the top 6 would be the Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, Cleveland Cavaliers, Atlanta Hawks, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Indiana Pacers. Boston would be the 1 seed as of right now. Milwaukee would be the 2 seed. Cleveland the 3. Atlanta 4. Philadelphia 5. And Indiana 6. 7 through 10 would go into a play-in tournament. And those teams would be Toronto at number 7. Brooklyn at 8. Miami at 9. And New York, based on tiebreakers, getting at 10th spot, with Washington, Chicago, Charlotte, Detroit, and Orlando out of the mix as of right now. Over in the Western Conference, the New Orleans Pelicans has taken over the Southwest Division lead with a 15-8 record. 8-2 in their last 10, including 4 straight wins. In second place, you have the Memphis Grizzlies at 14-9, 1 game back. 5-5 in their last 10, including 2 straight wins. Then it's all Texas from third place to the basement. Third place is the Dallas Mavericks with a 500 record, 11-11. 3.5 games out of first, 4-6 in their last 10. Jumping up to fourth place, the Houston Rockets, 6-17, 9 games back, 4-6 in their last 10. And slipping to the bottom of the Southwest Division and the entire Western Conference as a whole is the San Antonio Spurs at 6-18. 9.5 games behind New Orleans, 0-10 in their last 10, and they still have the longest current losing streak in the NBA, which now sits at 11 straight after they were trounced at home by the Phoenix Suns. Meanwhile, the Northwest Division continues to be the tightest of all of them in the association. The Denver Nuggets leading the division with a 14-9 record, 5-5 in their last 10, including 2 straight losses. In a virtual tie for second place, you've got the Portland Trailblazers and the Utah Jazz. Portland is 13-11 with a 542 win percentage. They are 3-7 in their last 10. Utah is 14-12 with a 538 win percentage and a 4-6 record in their last 10, and both trailed Denver by a game and a half. Fourth place is the Minnesota Timberwolves, 11-12. 3 games back, 6-4 in their last 10. And in fifth place, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 10-13, 4 games back, 4-6 in their last 10, including 2 straight wins. And then over in the Pacific Division, the Phoenix Suns are on top with a 16-7 record, 8-2 in their last 10. And one of those losses, an inexcusable home loss to the Houston Rockets. Second place is the Sacramento Kings at 13-9, 2.5 games out of first place, 7-3 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. The Golden State Warriors and Los Angeles Clippers are tied for third at 13-11. Both are 3.5 games out of first place, with Golden State going 7-3 in their last 10, and the Clippers 5-5. The Warriors have won 2 in a row. The Clippers, meanwhile, have lost 2 in a row. And still in last place in the Pacific Division, but showing signs of life, the Los Angeles Lakers. 10-12, 5.5 games out, 8-2 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. All right, the top 6 in the Western Conference are the Phoenix Suns at number 1, the New Orleans Pelicans at number 2, Denver Nuggets 3, Memphis Grizzlies 4, Sacramento Kings 5, Golden State Warriors 6. And in the play-in tournament in the Western Conference, you would have the LA Clippers at 7, Portland Trailblazers 8, Utah Jazz 9, Dallas Mavericks 10. As it sits right now, Minnesota, the Lakers, Oklahoma City, Houston, and San Antonio would be out of the playoffs in the Western Conference. So that's a look at the NBA standings. Now let's jump on over to the NHL standings through December 4th. Starting off in the Eastern Conference with the Boston Bruins on top of the Atlantic Division through 23 games. They have a 20-3 record, which is 40 points, and 19 regulation or overtime wins. Second place is the Toronto Maple Leafs. 26 games, 15-5-6, 36 points, all 15 wins in regulation or overtime. Third place is the Tampa Bay Lightning. 24 games, 15-8-1, 31 points, 15 wins in regulation or overtime. Sitting in fourth place, the Detroit Red Wings. 24 games, 12-7-5, 29 points, 11 wins in regulation or overtime. Fifth place, the Florida Panthers. 25 games, 12-9-4, 28 points, 11 wins in regulation or overtime. Sixth place is the Montreal Canadiens. 24 games, 12-11-1, 25 points, 9 wins in regulation or overtime. Seventh place is the Buffalo Sabres. 25 games, 11-13-1, 23 points, 10 wins in regulation or overtime. And sitting eighth and in the basement of the Atlantic, the Ottawa Senators. 24 games, 10-13-1, 21 points, 10 wins in regulation or overtime. Sorry. All right. Over to the Metropolitan Division. In first place, the New Jersey Devils, who now have the most points of any team in the NHL. 25 games, record of 20 wins, 4 losses, and 1 overtime loss, which is 41 points. And all 20 wins coming in regulation or overtime. Second is the Carolina Hurricanes. 25 games, 14-6-5, 33 points, 12 wins in regulation or overtime. Third place is the New York Islanders. 26 games, 16-10 record, 32 points, all 16 wins in regulation or overtime. Jumping into fourth place are the Pittsburgh Penguins. 25 games, 13-8-4, 30 points, 12 wins in regulation or overtime. Fifth place is the New York Rangers. 26 games, 11-10-5, 27 points, 11 wins in regulation or overtime. Sixth place are the injury-riddled Washington Capitals. 26 games, 10-12-4, 24 points, all 10 wins in regulation or overtime. In seventh place, the Philadelphia Flyers. 25 games, 8-12-5, 21 points, 8 wins in regulation or overtime. And still sitting with the worst overall record in the Eastern Conference are the Columbus Blue Jackets. 23 games, 8-13-2, 18 points, and 8 wins in regulation or overtime. If the playoffs were to begin right now in the Eastern Conference, Boston, Toronto, and Tampa Bay would be in as the top 3 in the Atlantic Division, while New Jersey, Carolina, and the New York Islanders would be in as the top 3 in the Metropolitan Division. Pittsburgh and Detroit would have the 2 wild card spots in the East. The Penguins sitting with 30 points, the Red Wings with 29. Florida would be 1 point out, the Rangers 2 points out, Montreal 4 points out, Washington would be 5 points out, Buffalo 6 points out, both Ottawa and Philadelphia would be 8 points out, And Columbus at this point would be 11 points out. As far as the Western Conference standings are concerned, the Dallas Stars continue to lead the Central Division through 25 games with a 14-6-5 record, 33 points, and all 14 wins in regulation or overtime. Second place is the Winnipeg Jets, 23 games, 15-7-1, 31 points, 15 wins in regulation or overtime. Third place would be the Minnesota Wild, 24 games, 13-9-2, 28 points, 10 wins in regulation or overtime. In fourth place, in fourth place, the reigning defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche. 22 games, 13-8-1, 27 points, 11 wins in regulation or overtime. Followed in fifth place by the Nashville Predators. 23 games, 12-9-2, 26 points, 10 wins in regulation or overtime. Sixth place is the St. Louis Blues. 24 games, 11-13, 22 points, 10 wins in regulation or overtime. And then you have a points tie for last place in this division with both the Arizona Coyotes and Chicago Blackhawks. Arizona has played 22 games and they have a 7-11-4 record. Chicago has played 24 games and they have a 7-13-4 record. Both teams have 18 points and both teams have 7 wins in regulation or overtime. All right, that brings us to the Pacific Division, where the top team in the West remains the Vegas Golden Knights. 26 games, 18-7-1, 37 points, 17 wins in regulation or overtime. Second place is the Seattle Kraken. 24 games, 15-6-3, 33 points, 15 wins in regulation or overtime. In third place, the Los Angeles Kings. 27 games, 13-10-4, 30 points, 12 wins in regulation or overtime. In fourth place sits the Edmonton Oilers. 25 games, 14-11, 28 points, 14 wins in regulation or overtime. In fifth place, the Calgary Flames. 24 games, 11-10-3, 25 points, 10 wins in regulation or overtime. Sixth place, the Vancouver Canucks. 25 games, 10-12-3, 23 points, 10 wins in regulation or overtime. Seventh place is the San Jose Sharks, and they've played the most games of any team in the NHL. 28 to be in fact. They're 8-16-4 with 20 points and 7 wins in regulation or overtime. And sitting with the worst record in the entire National Hockey League through December 4th, the Anaheim Ducks. 26 games, 6-17-3, 15 points, and just 4 wins in regulation or overtime. If the playoffs began today in the Western Conference, Dallas, Winnipeg, and Minnesota would be your top 3 in the Central Division, while Vegas, Seattle, and Los Angeles would be your top 3 in the Pacific. The wild card spots as it sits would go to both Edmonton and Colorado, with Nashville 1 game off, or rather Nashville 1 point off the pace, Calgary 2 points, Vancouver 4 points, St. Louis 5 points, San Jose 7 points, Both Arizona and Chicago, 9 points. And Anaheim already 12 points off the pace. And that is a look at the current standings in the NBA and the NHL through Sunday, December 4th. We'll be back tomorrow with week 13 of the week that was, as I run down all the statistical numbers from week number 13 in the NFL. I'll also update the NFL standings, and I'll give you my power rankings going into week 14. All that is dropping tomorrow, so join me for that. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. Get notified every time I post a new video. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching, and keep pounding, I guess. Peace out.